That was the 5th round. I got
Brilliant corner work by Tommy Brooks. Brilliant corner work, because he's telling Holyfield now, as you heard, if you want to set down on those punches, do it. But please, you must step if you're going to do it. You can't just stay in his wheelhouse and accept the punch. They're acknowledging that he could do more. But I love the caution that Tommy Brooks threw his way.
Let's see if Evander does do that. I mean, I don't want him to work or he doesn't want to move as much. Who knows? He's been effective enough because of Valuev's lack of not only effectiveness, but any action. Now inside, as he wraps the champion with shots to the body. Man, Valuev never win a bodybuilding contest, but he looks soft, and Holyfield was ripped as usual, but outweighed by nearly 100 pounds. You know, Valuev once outweighed a guy by 159 pounds, Al.
Wow. You know, you get the impression that their intention, Tommy Brooks and the Holyfield camp, was to at some point be a little bit more stationary and then be more aggressive. They felt maybe taking this to a certain point in this fight, and they're already telling him, look, you can start doing that a little bit here in round 6, but Holyfield not feeling comfortable enough to do it, so he's continued the movement.
But Al, for Holyfield to be in the luxurious spot, not having to go to plan B, but saying, hey, if I want to go to plan B, then I'll go inside, work inside, and negate Valuev's size, and here he's doing it. Valuev's like he's sleepwalking.
Nikolai, and you know what, I've been at this for many, many years, and I think my reputation is one of being a pretty fair-minded and not painting pictures black and white. Nikolay Valuev's performance in this fight is one of the worst I've ever seen.
It's head-scratching.
He's one of the worst I've ever seen in any division by any fighter.
Yeah, how can this man be a champion?
It's atrocious. And, you know, give Evander Holyfield credit. He's fighting a smart fight. He's doing just enough what he needs to do to win these rounds. But this is a dreadful performance by Valuev. And he might score a one-punch knockout. He might turn it around in these last second half of this fight. But right now, it's dreadful.
It's like Valuev doesn't want to fight. He doesn't know how to fight.
And we saw in those clips against boxers. Now there he puts together a nice combination, Valuev. He missed, but that's just what he should be doing.
Let his hands go.
It's not as if he has never fought well.
Holyfield now catches a jab.
Now Valuev's starting to get a little bit of rhythm to what he does, at least.
I don't know, you could try to figure out a guy's moves, but I don't think Holyfield has given you such ridiculously tough looks.
Yeah, there's lateral movement, but it's not absurdly quick lateral movement.
Now see, it's like, hey, referee saved me. Not like I'm going to tear this guy's head off.
Luis Pabon of Puerto Rico jumping in.
Crowd sort of echoing the inaction that I'm sure you're feeling and seeing as we are. Come on, this guy doesn't need a demonstration. He needs a bullwhip, Al.
Well, you can hear the urgency in his corner as they try to get him to do a little bit more of this, at least throw punches. Nice short right hand, takes a left hook in response, and a couple of left hooks in response. And there's the jab of Valuev, which we have seen so little of. And
how can you really give Valuev a round, Al, or can you?
You might make the last round
maybe
even.
5-1.
You might make it 5-1 or the last round even, but that's about as far as you can go.
Al, you know, Holyfield does, as you really nailed it, Al. Even in winning this fight, he's looked so mediocre. He's looked almost just moving in the way he did, trying to get around the jab and just caving in and falling on Valuev's chest, knowing that nothing's coming back. I mean, it's not like he's done anything great.
No, he's doing what he needs to do, and he's landed. He's shown us, ironically, he's shown us exactly what he has in other fights, even like the Ibragimov in recent times. Flashes of good work. You know, combination.
Al, I
a couple
think
left hooks.
Al, you're telling like it is. You're being kind. I just don't see anything in there that would pose a challenge to a real heavyweight who came to fight.
And I say flashes because it's only been flashes, and it's only been because Valuev is not doing anything. But nevertheless, he's doing it. You know, he's doing enough to win these rounds. That's for sure, but not by much.
You know, Valuev. We talked about needing to keep Holyfield the end of his jab. He hasn't at all. Then he's got to start beating up this guy inside. And Holyfield able to move leisurely. You know, he's 46 years old. His legs aren't at all what they used to be. He's never been a guy who's totally just bounced around the ring. There's a flurry from him.
Valuev landed a right hand briefly. It didn't do much good.
Valuev trying to double the jab. He's short with it, with an 85-inch reach to 78 for Evander.
Even for Valuev, who has had some performances in the past where he has been less active than some people would like him to be, even for him, this one is an absurdly inactive performance in which he has just done almost nothing offensively. Now in this round, Holyfield has not thrown that many punches either. There he lands a right and another right on the inside. Valuev had landed a couple of good right hands earlier in the round.
You know, Holyfield at 46, there, now he's getting pressed a little bit. Nice right hand from Valuev. Well, it's like Holyfield wins his title, he could fight 2 months later because, you know, this is like a leisurely sparring session. It's like how to play a little keep-away defense and an occasional flurry and, you know, work on your legs for today. That's what we're going to do. We're going to put a big guy in there who's not doing anything. Just walking around.
Yeah, and there are very few punches coming from Valuev, so you don't have to worry too much. Even there, Valuev just kind of walks away as if, okay, I don't have to punch right now.
And he isn't as we close out the seventh. He's like shaking his head at Holyfield like, what? You didn't come to fight? Well, make him fight. Here we see the champion now. That hook landed, but a right in return from Holyfield.
And then another right. Holyfield, when he gets on the inside, understands, and there's the use of the head, which many have accused Evander Holyfield of in the past.
Liberally.
And he knows how to do it when he's on the inside. And there you see the head kind of tucked underneath the chin.
Yeah, Al, I agree. They let him get away. Sometimes they let him get away with it because of his status, the legendary status, I thought. A lot of head movement. Here, let's listen in.
Second out.
Al, we all expected more. We know our viewers watching. Did we know we did? Well, if not, something dynamic from Valuev to send Holyfield into retirement. Not playing favorites, but the man is arguably an 8-10-1 favorite.
Well, here's the thing. If you take this completely in a vacuum and you say, okay, let's dissect it round by round, Evander Holyfield doing just enough to win, landing some punches here and there, but if you take it in its total, yes, it has not created a super interesting prize fight, and more than that, Valuev, a man who has kind of, was handed this title after he lost it in the ring, is not acting like he wants to keep it. And there he finally throws some right hands.
Finally, off of that jab, which is really, that's his deal. Okay, there it is. That's what he should have been doing 5 rounds ago.
And maybe his plan was to let the 46-year-old Holyfield run around a little and then go after him, though I find that hard to believe.
Me too. Giving away all those rounds, now he's got to knock him out. He's got that jab right hand over the top, and inside he's got the right uppercut, as you mentioned.
Yeah, exactly. He's got 2 sequences that, if you just keep trying them over and over again, might work against this fighter, and yet he has not tried either of them very often.
Holyfield tries the jab, right hand over the top from the champion. Now Valuev walking in, but not punching. And Holyfield circles right.
Well, it's all in degrees, but in some respects, things have at least heated up a little bit in this round.
Absolutely. I was going to say, it's probably
small degrees, but nevertheless, it's progress.
Halfway through the 8th, This is a 12-round title fight, and the man with the title, Nikolay Valuev, is playing catch-up. There they exchange shots there. Holyfield came back with a nice left hand.
One of the very few jabs that Evander has tried in this fight. That one did get through.
Valuev walking to the challenger, but not throwing much of anything. He's had his moments in this fight, that jab, in this round, I should say.
You know, if you want to look at this from one perspective, the fact that 46-year-old Holyfield has had constant movement during the course of this 8 rounds is something. But
true,
it's not exactly
he's not
Muhammad Ali, Larry Holmes movement. It's just enough lateral movement to give Valuev some issues.
Yeah, and it's not like he's had to run from this guy under pressure. He's not been pressured all night.
Yeah, it's been movement that he dictated.
Exactly.
A little better round for Valuev.
Yeah,
this might be one that he's winning.
I agree. You know, from a judge's perspective, yeah, it would just seem you're human. You're looking at a champion. You're saying, how can the champion conceivably, against a guy not posing a lot of threats, how can I not give him 1 round? Do you know what I mean? I mean, you're putting 1 round in the bank and you're on to scoring the next, and that's what you're supposed to do. But you're saying, how can this champion not win a single round on my card?
Well, and in fact, he is winning this one, so he's landed more punches and done a little more.
I gave it to him as well.
Yeah.
And I give it to this crowd ringside in Switzerland for applauding the
They're
action.
actually quite benevolent.
Yeah.
Комбинации хорошие у тебя сейчас, молодец. Раз, два, 3. Оп, раз, два. А ты стоишь как барышня. Че ты стоишь? Руки распускай, че ты? От защиты и бей. Все нормально.
Yeah, I don't speak Russian, Al, but this guy's not telling him enough. Seems the same thing, like
Коля, поагрессивнее, он сдает.
catch shots and counter.
Here's the Valuev. Now they exchanged jabs, and actually that was one where Holyfield got in a little bit better. There's the jab of Valuev getting in. Punch that he has not landed very often.
You know, Al, we're not taking those shots, but it looks like Valuev's shots, every one that's landed flush, has had no effect on Evander. Nothing. I mean, this is a man 310 pounds hitting you.
We're 2/3 of the way through this fight, and it is interesting. Evander Holyfield has been allowed to basically fight at his own pace.
Wow.
Which is, we said at the beginning, this was the way in which Holyfield could ultimately win this fight.
I thought the only way, Al.
Yeah, and it's been the way it's transpired for him.
Not good for boxing, slippage there.
Left hook that just kind of pushed him off balance, but more a slip.
Valuev gets hit with a counter.
Good hook by Valuev.
Yeah, but back comes Evander nicely.
That was a great combination by Holyfield.
That was the best action of the fight, in my opinion.
Yep.
Let him get mean, and then we'll have a fight.
I was going to say, at this point, to warn Valuev for any act of aggression seems, inappropriate.
Wow. Valuev trying to get into his offense, is jumping, trying to get on the balls of his feet a little bit. Holyfield moving away, moving both ways. Valuev engages him with the jab, nothing behind it.
This fight,
yeah, go ahead, Al.
Oh, I'm sorry, Nick. This fight has been the ultimate in measured aggression.
Oh, you said it.
I mean, it really has.
Holyfield making the play now, landing nothing, but he's throwing the jab because the champion's throwing nothing.
And you know, you have to say this for Evander Holyfield. The fact that he's moved right, he's moved left, he's done it in a way that has given Valuev some issues. That strategically is a big part of what has worked for him. But aiding and abetting him is Valuev, who has not thrown many punches at all.
He threw his head, it seemed, last time. Evander, a few moments ago, Al, complaining about a headbutt, it would seem, to the right orbital bone area. Holyfield not even catching and countering because Valuev's short. Now here comes the counter assault from the champion.
And of course,
combination.
you know, we have to remind ourselves, Evander Holyfield has in general in life been more productive as a counterpuncher himself.
Isn't that true?
So
that's
when
his style.
we see when Valuev does throw some punches, Holyfield's able to counter them effectively, for the most part.
You know, I thought Evander's always been a vulnerable fighter. I thought the age in the ring wear would make him much more vulnerable in this fight. But
sure.
Valuev hasn't exploited a thing in his favor. Not a thing. Not pressing him, not even fighting in flurry. He's not fighting at all.
Holyfield landing some left hooks on the inside, able to land a little bit to the body.
Holyfield was 214, Valuev 310 for this fight. Al, I'll give you a moment to digest your card and pick up your scoring. Here's the action from that 9th round.
You see Holyfield on the inside clubbing him with the right. When Holyfield's on the inside, Valuev doesn't want to fight on the inside, so he simply holds, and it's Holyfield doing the majority of the work. A little short chopping right hand, but not very effective by Valuev. Always the Holyfield head kind of lurking in a dangerous position. And there's the jab of Holyfield, which we have seen sparingly in this fight, but when it has been used, it's very effective. And that sequence emblematic, I think, of this fight. Neither man super effective, but a little bit better for Holyfield. That really was this fight in microcosm right there.
Al, I'm sorry, I'm doing this fight, and we're all getting paid for it, and we're watching it, and I was anticipating so much more, but wow, Evander, the point, he lacks sharpness to the point of looking amateurish at times. I know this is a big guy, but he walks in, he's not even seeing anything. He's walking in with his head down or turned, and how Valuev is not doing this. Valuev looks like he's a Russian amateur and not a professional heavyweight champion. Well, I use your word, this is a dreadful fight.
Yeah, and I agree that with what you just said. I will say this for Holyfield: his technique's better than Valuev's at this juncture.
It is.
And when he throws those good combinations, they're thrown well. It's just a few and far between. See, and he'll rip a little body shot. He'll work a little on the inside. So from that standpoint, Holyfield has been effective. But if Valuev has allowed him to do that.
Al, back to your card. How do you have it through 9?
I have every round for Holyfield at 1 even and 1 for Valuev.
Couldn't argue with that. I know that.
And you could make the case of 2 rounds for Valuev out of the first.
But nobody
9.
could make the case for the champion winning this fight.
I don't think so. Not at this juncture.
So he would apparently need a knockout. Nice right hand from Evander.
And again, a counterpunch over the jab of Valuev. And he shows no signs of hurting Valuev, even with the big punches he's landing, but they are getting there, and they're the only punches that are getting there in this fight.
And they take drug tests, obviously after these fights they better, because it looks like Valuev's taken too many sleeping pills for this one. He looks terrible. And I know I'm chiseling home a point that everybody sees. It's clear cut, there's no denying. It's not that he's done anything to win this fight, he's done everything to lose it, and Evander's done just enough to win rounds. Just enough.
This will not be one that Valuev will press in his memory book, that's for sure. And at 35, there's pressure on him as well, not just Holyfield at 46, and with some recent losses.
Al, it's a guy you never want to see again when you see him fight this way. It becomes like the circus act, the 7-foot, 300-pound lumbering giant who doesn't belong in the ring with world-class fighters.
Well, and he hasn't exactly, and the sad part for Valuev is he hasn't exactly been that before. He's had his moments.
No, I was expecting and hoping for so much more, because I know this guy has some technical skills.
Yeah, he does, and we saw evidence of that in some of the highlights, and it's not to suggest he's been a world beater in every fight, but he's had some entertaining matches.
Absolutely.
And this has just been not a good effort.
Beating a guy who looks impossible to beat, John Ruiz. He won a unanimous decision over him. 3 knockdowns against Monty Barrett, who just fought Klitschko. Or I should say David Hay. Got to give the round to somebody. I'm glad I don't have to score this for a living.
2 rounds, boss. 2 rounds, baby. You got that in you. I know you do. Just keep moving. Don't stand stationary, man. Don't let it get it. Hey, yo, right here. Let's focus. Right here, yo, right here. 2 rounds, baby. This is yours. 2 more rounds. You got this, boss. Don't stand stationary.
Holyfield in the last round taking a nice right hand by Valuev, and they've been from time to time landing, but he lands his own as well and then comes with the hook. And when there have been combinations in this fight, it's been Holyfield.
And against oh boy,
Sauerland.
that's his, you know, he's hitched his wagon to this guy, invested a lot in him. Holyfield coming in blind with those shots. What you have to do against a 7-footer, roll under him, it's hard. You don't want to have your chin hanging in the air, but you know, I haven't seen one effective inside shot, certainly on a counter, from Valuev all night.
No, not at all. And for Wilfried Sauerland, we saw the frustration. He's looking at this, and needless to say, his man, Valuev, has been a huge disappointment to him as well. Now, Tommy Brooks clearly indicating to Holyfield, this is no time to get brave. This is no time to stand there and decide you're going to be a warrior. Fight a smart, tactical fight. And what I'm about to say, believe me, could be distorted and painted into a monstrous statement. However, this is in some ways reminiscent of the way he fought Riddick Bowe in his second fight. Certainly not on that skill level, certainly not at the right pace, but it's an Evander Holyfield who has thought through what he might be able to do in terms of technique and strategy. However, I emphasize, not even close to being on that skill level, but the Evander Holyfield, the warrior, which we've even seen in recent fights, he's putting in check to get a win.
Man, Al, you know, I respect a lot of that, and what you say, I think you're on target. I just don't see anything in Holyfield that suggests to me that he's going to be a true world champion.
It is not.
And he's going to win the world championship tonight unless Valuev gets lucky.
You are correct. It's not a brilliant performance. It's an adequate performance, and it's been an adequate performance has been enough tonight. But you're absolutely correct.
And we'll wrap that up when we wait for the judge's verdict and talk more about perspective. And once we get it, but Valuev has been comatose in this fight. Crowd at the sellout crowd here in Switzerland cheering Holyfield most of the night, and he has been the busier fighter, and he's controlled the pace, as you had mentioned, alluding to the second Bowe fight, and been able to do the things he wants to do best, and it's been enough to win this fight.
And even now, you look at, and you know, listen, I guess it's possible we're wrong. I guess it's possible Valuev is winning some rounds. I don't know how. Can't be too many. But if we're right, it's astonishing that Valuev is not being even a little bit aggressive to try and win some rounds here. We're in round 11.
Absolutely.
Or to knock him out.
It's incomprehensible to me. Holyfield hasn't landed a solid blow this round, but thanks to Valuev, he hasn't had to.
And really, a couple of body shots by Holyfield, maybe one or two kind of overhand rights might be enough to win him this round. I don't know.
He's just got to finish on his feet to win this, to win a 5th heavyweight world championship in our view. 1 round to go from Zurich, Switzerland. The WBA heavyweight title on the line.
Подгоняй его левый, и все. Правый кидай, не целься. Не надо целиться, не надо бить по цели. Кидай туда, в середину, на грудь все удары. Понял? И не старайся много. Пробил и защита. Пробил и защита. Ты его сейчас, чем больше ударов, тем будет активнее. Только не дерись, и не оставайся после того, как... Last round. Давай, внимательно, не дари раунд. Левой рукой сейчас поджимай. Он будет стараться сейчас ошибки делать, бросаться. Поэтому левой работай, правой навстречу. Давай, работай, давай. Правой по животу хорошо, левой, правой по животу.
Hopefully that's the same in any language. They know that word, knockout. Because
he doesn't even seem bothered. He's bewitched and bewildered, we know that, but is he bothered by just giving his title away? That's the way I look at it. It's the only way I can see it. He's giving the title on a platter to Evander Holyfield.
I agree. He has pretty much gift-wrapped it, and Evander Holyfield has been smart enough thus far and active enough thus far to accept that gift. We'll see if Valuev can snatch it back here in the final round.
Al, I don't get it. You know, you think he's been, like we said before, fazed at all by a single shot from Holyfield that's hurt him? No. I'm speaking for him. Why he won't come forward, it's got me in disbelief. If he hasn't been stunned, he hasn't had his bell rung, he hasn't been hurt, he doesn't feel threatened by Evander, just go for it, man.
Holyfield last held a version of the heavyweight title back in the year 2000 with a win over John Ruiz after he had lost to Lewis, and there's Holyfield landing some big right hands. Doesn't hurt Valuev, but it scores.
And Valuev, once Holyfield backs off, not jumping on him. He's letting Evander go at his pace. Punch count is so low in this fight, even for heavyweights. And punches landed are atrocious.
Yes, from Valuev's standpoint especially. Holyfield, ironically, may have landed a fairly high percentage of what he threw, interestingly. Didn't throw that many, but he may have landed a fairly high percentage of what he threw. Valuev has landed an absurdly small amount, percentage of what he has thrown. And you're right, we could be a minute and 14 seconds or so away from Evander Holyfield winning his 5th world title and being the oldest man to win a version of the heavyweight title. And it will not feel as electric as it should because of the nature of this fight. And I think that's a fair statement to make.
Yeah. Holyfield has rarely come forward, but Valuev doesn't win a single round on aggression. He is just following around the ring. Not letting his hands go, playing right into the hands of the 46-year-old Evander Holyfield. As we approach the half-minute mark, it's clear the champion needs that KO.
Now, Evander Holyfield needs to get off those ropes. Because Valuev looked like he was trying to load up on a right hand, and he's trying right now.
Evander looks like he's off balance and staggering around.
He might be a little tired right now, and that makes him vulnerable, but Valuev doing not much. Maybe Valuev won this round.
Run out of clock, and he's run out of title contention in my book. A champion who let it go to an ex-champion.
A fascinatingly dispassionate performance.
What is that
by
all
Valuev,
about?
and you hear the reaction to what he just did. So that tells you that we're not the only people that saw it this way.
Wow. He didn't even show up. Man, this got to be a happy corner. I don't know what Nikolai Valuev is thinking.
Well, that's kind of a delusional move, isn't it?
Yeah,
based upon his performance.
Yeah, and a lot of people thought Holyfield was the delusional one taking this fight.
Who would have thought? Now, having said all of what we've said and reaching the end of this match, we now see it in the judges' hands.
And the judges, again, from Sweden, Panama, and Italy, will determine whether Evander Holyfield, this 46-year-old you're looking at, will become the oldest heavyweight champion in history.
Winning a portion of the heavyweight championship. And
Al, I say again, we were ringside in 2003 when Holyfield couldn't get his hands out of his pocket and they threw in the towel against James Toney, and I remember we called the action and we sat there and said this is the last time we're going to see him. That was 5 years ago, and he really hasn't beaten anyone with conviction since then, and now he's going to be the champion of the world the way I see it.
You and I have been ringside in a variety of capacities.
Yes.
During most of the important moments in Evander Holyfield's career. And once again, we're calling what could turn out to be an important match for him.
I would be shocked in days.
The electricity about his achievement is not there, for the most part because of Valuev and because there just wasn't enough in that ring to create excitement tonight. But nevertheless, it would still be an achievement. And we could, of course, get yet another surprise if the judges somehow find a way to give this fight to Valuev.
Yes, the champion,
Which would be
Nikolai
fairly
Valuev.
surprising. It's been 8 years since that man held a portion of the heavyweight championship.
As he said, I can't accept defeat. I'm not finished until I say I am.
That look tells you what the supporters of Valuev think happened here. Will that version of reality be validated by the judges' scorecards?
Well, a measure of appreciation for Evander Holyfield, not necessarily for what he did in the ring tonight. Wasn't much, but it was more than this man did.
Not exactly an ebullient Evander Holyfield either. I think it's fair to say, without overstating or trying to paint some inappropriate picture, he doesn't look like a man overjoyed with what happened in the ring. Happy, satisfied that maybe he thought he got the job done, but not overjoyed with the artistic creation of this prize fight.
We're going to hear it from Michael Buffer now.
Ladies and gentlemen, before we go to the scorecards, tonight here in Zurich, we have seen two sensational heavyweights in this ring. A round of applause for champion and challenger. We go to the scorecards. Guillermo Perez scores the bout 114-114 even.
Wow.
Pierluigi Poppi 116-112. Mikael Hook 115-114 to the winner by a majority decision, and still WBA heavyweight champion of the world from Russia with love, Nikolai Valuev.
Al, I'm shocked, dazed, and amazed. That's the worst officiating I have ever seen, in my opinion. And we've seen a lot of fights over the years, Al. I know I could be caught up in the moment, but how this man retained his title is beyond belief.
Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause.
That's pretty
for
staggering.
The future Hall of Fame legend of boxing.
This is the worst thing to happen to boxing.
Well,
USA,
and the interesting thing about this is, as Evander Holyfield takes some adulation and has a puzzled look on his face.
Oh, gee.
One of the things that I think is distressing about this is that it was not a brilliant entity as a prize fight, and then you further diminish it by creating a decision that is, in my mind, something separate from reality.
And Al, the worst thing, again, from this big picture of boxing is Evander Holyfield's not going to quit now. He's going to say, I really beat this guy. I should be champion. I'm going to fight on. And again, I say he didn't do anything to threaten any bona fide world champion tonight that would suggest that he has the skills to really press and win a title again, unless it's in a rematch against a sleepwalking Russian giant.
And I
like
don't
this.
think, you see, I don't think anybody in that crowd,
What a close shave. You said it all, Wilfried.
Yeah, woo is absolutely the case. The fact of the matter is,